Okay, so I don't have anyone else in the waiting room at the moment. So, Yesenia, if you wanna do the introduction, you're welcome to get started.
Perfect. Today we will have Mary Liz Wright, who is a passionate advocate for improving the lives of Illinois residents through her various platforms, whether it's her blog, Be Smart, Eat Well, Get Healthy, in-person programs, webinars, or her YouTube channel, What's Cooking with Mary Liz Wright. She aims to empower people with life-changing knowledge about food safety, food preservation, chronic disease management, and basic nutrition. Drawing from research-based information provided by the University of Illinois, Mary Liz guides individuals towards making informed lifestyle choices. She firmly believes that a well-balanced diet positively impacts academic performance, workplace productivity, and community engagement. Mary Liz holds a bachelor's degree in theology from Loyola University of Chicago and a master's degree in family and consumer science from Eastern Illinois University. Her academic foundation, combined with her practical experience, equips her to address complex topics related to food and health. Mary Liz's commitment to excellence is reflected in her certifications, which are the Food Protection Manager Certification, the Standard University Chronic Disease Self-Management, the Real Colors Facilitator, HACCP Food Safety Certification, Smarter Lunchroom Certification. And we're very thrilled to have Mary Liz Wright as our Cottage Food Law expert, and we look forward to benefiting from her wealth of knowledge and dedication to community well-being. Welcome, Mary Liz.
Dang, Yesenia, you made me sound pretty darn good. Thank you so much.
No worries. And I am going to post your email here and your phone number.
Very good. Yes.
Please
feel free to contact me at any time. I love to be a part of people's entrepreneurial journeys and help them as much as I am able.
Thank you. Now I'll leave.
Okay, so let's see if I can share my screen. All right. Can you see my presentation?
Yes.
Yes, very good. All right. Well, I am thrilled to be here. As you can tell by my bio, I do have a little bit of a Chicago connection. I spent a few years there as a young person studying at Loyola University and fell in love with Chicago while there. And I look forward to my at least annual trips up north. I'm talking to you this morning from Marshall, Illinois. My area of coverage is the Clark, Crawford, and Edgar County region. And what I tell people is if you look at the map of Illinois, and you can see it down here on the ILFMA logo. So there on the far eastern, the far right side where it begins to wiggle, that's the Wabash River. That's where I'm from. So I'm thrilled to be sharing with you information from the Land Grant University system. And this system was established by Abraham Lincoln in the mid-1860s. And the University of Illinois is our land grant university. And that land grant university was tasked and is tasked with the mission of educating people in trades that help build the nation and in doing research that makes people's lives better. And so extension is just that. We are an extension of the Land Grant University. And there is an extension presence in every county and every state of the United States. Little commercial for you there. And then as a land grant institution, we are very cognizant and respectful of the people who came before us. And we want to acknowledge that we occupy lands that were once held by the Peoria, Kaskaskia, Piankashaw, Miami, Mascoutin, Odawa, Sauk, Muskogee, Kickapoo, Potawatomi, Ojibwa, and Chickasaw nations. All right, so we're here to talk about cottage food. Maybe some of you are cottage food producers, and or you're just interested. And so, why does cottage food matter? What's the big deal? Why was it even developed? And well, the reason for that is before the Cottage Food Law if you wanted to create food in your kitchen and sell it to the public, you weren't allowed to. You had to go through the expense and time and effort to developing a commercial kitchen, either inside your home or a freestanding building, or rent one from another entity. So that really stifled the growth of our small entrepreneurs. And so in 2012, Illinois got on the bandwagon. I'll tell you that there were other states who were doing this before us. But in 2012, with the help of Illinois Stewardship Alliance, the Cottage Food Law was passed. And just to give you a little background, at first, there was a very short list of things that you could prepare in your home and sell. Then in 2018, it was expanded to include chilled foods, canned tomato products, and other canned products. And that was called the Illinois Food Freedom Act to, just loosen things up a little bit. And then most recently in 2022, the law was then expanded again or amended to what we call the Home to Market Law. And now it expands the point of sale anywhere direct to consumer. It allows online sales, includes clarification on acidified and fermented foods. And we've gone from a short list of allowed foods to any food not listed on the prohibited foods list. And I'll show you a slide with that on here in just a minute. Most recently, like hot off the press, I haven't even added it to this program. I was on a call yesterday, and bill pending, it's House Bill 4121, has gone through all the committees and iterations and ready to be recommended. This law allows mobile food markets to handle cottage food. It allows for those counties in Illinois that did not have a health department and you wanted to produce cottage food, you are now able to register your county adjacent to you. And then there's more clear pathways to transporting foods at the temperature control for safety foods or those perishable foods. So what is a cottage food operation? Is exactly what it sounds like. You're making food in your cottage. Sounds great. How do I get started? Well, first thing you need to do is to take an American National Standards Institute approved course. An exam will be a part of that course. You will need to pass the exam, obtain your certificate, then take that certificate to your local health department. They'll ask you to register. And I've got an example of the registration here in the next slide or two. But they're just going to ask you a few basic questions. They may or may not, I think most do, charge you, but it can be no more than $50. This needs to be renewed annually. So where can I find an ANSI course? You've probably all heard of ServSafe. We at Illinois Extension offer the National Registry course and exam. You can take it online. Some community colleges even offer it for free. So it is easily accessible, particularly up there in the north where you have lots of community college opportunities. All right, so I said you had to register with your local health department. This is just an example. It's going to look similar to this. They're just going to ask you a few basic questions. Who are you? Where do you live? They want to see your certificate of passing the ANSI course, and then they want to know, what do you intend to sell? And here we recommend that people err on the side of more rather than less. Go ahead and put down anything you're thinking about. You're not going to be held to this. If you put down butternut squash bread, for example, and your garden's a failure, you have no butternut squash, you're not going to make the butternut squash, the health department's not going to come and say, oh my gosh, you said you were going to make this squash bread and you didn't. But it's much easier to have more on here and not do it than have less and have to go through the process of amending it by contacting your local health department again. We all know health departments are very busy, understaffed, as are everyone, but the more you can do at the front end, the easier it is on you and your health department. And also, just a little side note here, The health department's your partner, not your enemy. There are many instances or examples of where there has been friction between producers and the health department. And just know they're doing the best they can. They want to help you create and serve a safe product. As a cottage food producer, they're never going to come and inspect your kitchen unless there is a complaint. And so just keep that in mind. They want to work with you to serve the public. Here's the really cool thing from that 2022 law. You can sell anywhere. Before then, you could only sell at a farmer's market. And so now you can sell out of your home, providing that your municipality doesn't have stipulation against selling out of someone's home with the zoning issues. You can sell at public events, pop-up events. You can ask someone to set up in their parking lot and sell from there, as long as you are selling direct to the consumer. Now, what this does not allow is for you to sell your product to a restaurant that will then use it as an ingredient to sell to the public. You see, that's 2 steps. Or a grocery store, or your we get calls about wanting to set up at an antique mall or some other multi-vendor event, and that's not allowed either because you are not there handing your product to the consumer. And also, I wanted to remind you too, I should have said this in the beginning, if you have questions, go ahead and type them in the chat and we'll get to them at the end. Or wait till the end and unmute yourself and we'll just visit. So what can I sell? Any food or drink not on the prohibited foods list. What are we talking about prohibited food? There we go. Now you notice those first 3, you see those at farmers markets, but that's a different permitting process. Those things are regulated through the Illinois Department of Ag. And so then the rest, you will notice, have been associated with foodborne illness. Remember the Sprouts incident from the fast food place, that sort of thing. And so these items have been associated with foodborne illness. That's why they're on the list. What about homemade drink? We get a lot of questions about this because people want to make their iced coffee or whatnot. And there's a fine line between cottage food and concession stand in this instance. So if you are preparing the drinks on site, say at a farmer's market or festival, and you are preparing them in your little booth, handing it to someone to drink, that's a concession stand. That's a different permitting process. If you make your iced coffees or your lemonades or whatnot, teas, in your home and you put it in a bottle, you bring it to the site, chilled, of course, or processed through the canning process, then it's cottage food. This is just a little chart I made because we get so many questions about these. Homemade condiments, absolutely, that's fine. No homemade mayonnaise though, because that contains raw eggs. The tomato basil spaghetti sauce, yes, but you must have a pH of 4.6 or lower, using preferably USDA or extension recipe. Product with alcohol used as a flavoring, sure, but it must be less than 5% by volume. Canned corn, canned green beans, vegetables in the canned, home canned state, not allowed unless sufficient acid has been added. So like corn relish or pickled green beans, those would be allowed. Pumpkin butter, no. The USDA really doesn't want us home canning pumpkin, just plain and simple. It's too low acid, too dense. Pepper jelly, use an approved recipe. And then over here under extracts, I've amended it to say yes. We got lots and lots of questions about people making their own extracts. And you know how you make extract, you take something like a vanilla pod and put it in vodka, right? So we were a little concerned because alcohol is on the prohibited foods list. So the committee that I work with, that involves folks from all over the state, one of our members asked the Illinois Liquor Commission, if that would be allowed. And he laughed and he said, "Oh my gosh, really? You're going to bother me with that? I have way bigger fish to fry. Let them make the extract. I don't care as long as they're not drinking it." So that was our answer. And this just shows you the different permitting requirements from the different types of food. Not, necessarily that you memorize this or anything, but it just gives you kind of a large picture, a big picture of that. We noticed that dairy is on the prohibited foods list, and we have folks who would like to sell, breads with some Asiago cheese sprinkled on top or whatnot. And that's a conversation you need to have with your health department. They might ask you to create a safety plan. They might ask you to serve it chilled. But just know that, again, health department's your partner. Talk with them first. They will walk you through the process by which you can sell what you want to sell. Now, take and bake pizzas, probably not. That's too much cheese. But a little sprinkled on top and baked in, probably okay. Same can be true about buttercream icing. This is, from a food safety standpoint, buttercream icing is pretty safe. The dairy in it bonds with the sugar, rendering it fairly safe. And so it's a big yes on buttercream, however, still a no on cream cheese icing. That's something, again, you could apply for a variance with your local health department. I talked about acidified corn or green beans, and we do this to lower the pH of items. It also makes them tasty, but we lower the pH on items that we want to can in a water bath or boiling water bath canner, and then they are rendered safe to sell. So if you're wanting to do, we get a lot of questions about fermented hot sauces. That's fine. We would prefer that you use what we would call an approved recipe from the USDA or any state cooperative extension. But if you do want to use your own recipe, work again with your local health department. They're going to require a food safety plan. Not that complicated. Don't panic. It's just step by step what you intend to do. And they're also going to ask that you send it to an independent commercial lab to have it tested. Tomatoes, same thing. USDA recipe. When you are just canning tomatoes by themselves, they must be acidified with bottled lemon juice or citric acid or vinegar. And I'll have a link to all of these things at the end. Here's your food safety plan. See, it's pretty simple, just says what you're going to do. And again, just to reiterate, home canned products can be wonderfully safe and delicious, or they can be so dangerous that they can kill people. And this happens. So just make sure you're following recommended recipes and instructions. Boiling water bath canning, those is used for acidic foods, fruits, jams, jellies, pickles, sauerkraut, kimchi, that sort of thing. And that is what is allowed as a product at as a cottage food. So if you're selling canned foods, they must be acidic and processed in a boiling water bath. Those things that are low acids, vegetables, meats, soups, combination foods, those must be canned in a pressure canner, and they are not allowed as a cottage food. What's the big deal? Botulism. And how do I find a commercial lab for testing? Well, these are all on our website. If you do want to use your own recipe, you can have it tested. These are all really nice labs. I've spoken personally with every single one of them, and they love to work with small producers, and they charge a nominal fee. You're also allowed to sell chilled and frozen products. You just have to keep them at 41 degrees or below. You don't have to buy a huge, standalone generator, commercial cooling equipment. You can just use a hard-sided, easy to clean cooler, as long as you're keeping that food at 41 degrees or below for refrigerated, or 32 or lower for frozen. Labeling requirements. This is important, and it needs to be on every product with more than one ingredient. What you need on your label are your name and county of the food operation. Now, you know, it just says county. The reason your home address is not on there is because the health department has your home address, but we don't want every person who's going to buy your product to be able to come and visit you at your house. Now, you might not want that. Common name of the food product. You might come up with a clever name for your hot sauce, but somewhere on there it needs to say hot sauce. The date the product was processed, the registration number that you acquired at the health department, and the phrase, this product was produced in a home kitchen, not subject to public health inspection, that may also process common food allergens. If you have safety concerns, contact your local health department on every label. And then the ingredients in descending order by weight, and then allergen labeling as specified. So here is an example of the allergen labeling. You notice there are 9 most common allergens. Sesame was added last year. And here's a sample of what a label may look like. People use address labels and run them through their copiers with those. It's a fairly cheap way to do it. And then prominent at the point of sale. If you're doing online sales, this has to be where they click to purchase. It has to be at least 8.5 by 11 in your booth or on your table, just alerting people that this food was made in a home kitchen that also processes food allergens. And then you might want to give out samples, which of course you do. People are much more apt to buy if they've had a taste of your delicious product. And you can go through the Illinois Department of Public Health to get a sampling certificate. There's a small fee involved. You can package them at home, and then you don't have to have that separate sampling certificate. Just bring them in the little containers to sample. But if you want to cut things on site, you're going to have to go through obtain this sampling certificate and set up a temporary hand washing station. It's actually pretty simple. If you are at a farmer's market and you have a neighbor, you guys can go together and build one of these, but it's just a cooler. But you'll notice the spigot is not one of those that you have to push in. It's a little toggle, and that way you can open it up and have both hands underneath to properly wash your hands. So again, just to recap, you have to register with your local health department after passing that ANSI accredited exam. The city of Chicago, God bless them, has additional requirements. And so you'll have to, if you are wanting to sell within the city of Chicago, then you'll need to contact the health department there, and they will be able to take you through it. We also have links on our website. I've got a QR code at the end that you can link into and go to our website. If you're really interested in learning more, we have an online cottage food business course. It only takes a few hours. It's $25. I wrote the course with a partner, so I think it's a pretty darn good course. But at the risk of bragging, you might want to take that course if you're interested. There are also links to this course on our website, and so I'll just give you the QR code now, and you can link into that, and it will take you to our what I think is a very comprehensive website. I'll give you a minute or so to do that. And it looks like there's one question in the chat, so we'll get to that in just a minute. 2 important documents that are linked on our website. At least I hope they are. At one point, the Illinois Stewardship Alliance was having a little trouble with this cottage food guide. It is the go-to book for all questions. And then in addition to that, we also have the Farmers Market Food Safety Guide that IDPH and Extension and Farm Bureau worked on. And it is also another very comprehensive document. There is a Facebook group. However, just remember, kind of like Wikipedia, this Facebook group is open, and you might see folks on there who, through no ill intent or nefarious purposes, might give the wrong answer. So you know, be a savvy consumer of this Facebook group. All right, let me get out of this so I can see all of you. And very good. So that's a lot of information. And I hope that there are some of you who are interested in developing your cottage food business. As I said, I am absolutely delighted always to help people. I'm going to put my email and my phone number in the chat. Okay. Oh, you're welcome. I love the land acknowledgement too. I spent a year as a volunteer on an Indian reservation in Washington State. So absolutely. I would be very interested in hearing about some of your products. What do you currently produce or develop or offer for sale? Don't all talk at once.
Good morning, Jennifer.
Hey, Jennifer.
Your information was very informative, so thank you so much for taking the time for that. Currently, I make hair products and skincare products that actually consist of like herbs and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So we help people with a lot of inflammation, which most of Americans suffer with that on a day-to-day basis.
Yes.
But I was actually wanting to ask a question. I was interested in making sea moss, and I noticed that that wasn't something that was listed on like as an allergen or anything. Do you foresee like having a difficulty as far as being able to get that passed?
I don't think you should have any trouble. It's not on the prohibited foods list,
Mhm.
so you should be fine.
Okay. Thank you.
Unless someone's super picky and they're going to call it a leafy green,
Mm,
right?
right.
But leafy greens are allowed if you don't chop them up. It's
Okay.
bizarre. I know it doesn't make sense, but you can
But I
have
know
the
the
harvest.
verbiage says a lot, like
Right.
how you
Yeah,
say
you can
it.
have the harvest cut. I think it's worth a conversation with your health department. I do. I think it
Thank
should
you.
be allowed. When someone makes sugar-free, gluten-free churros and Mexican pastries, wow, how do you do that, Nancy? Dang. Dang, that sounds very interesting. I'm always interested in healthy baked goods. Magic, yes. Absolutely. Oh, pie and traditional bakery. Oh, very good. That sounds lovely. So, so far you're all in the very safe realm. It's canned goods. And I'll tell you, I'm going to be real honest with you. You know what keeps me up at night? Salsa. Everybody wants to make up their own salsa recipe. You know where botulism grows? In the ground with the onions and the garlic. And so you have to be very careful acidifying your salsa. And so I just tell people, why don't you just make it and sell it chilled? Let's not try and can it. So just FYI, I don't buy salsa at farmers markets. Any other questions? So, what are any of you in the city of Chicago farmers markets? Because I've heard that some of them don't allow cottage food. Is that true?
Chicago doesn't allow anything.
Welcome to Chicago. I'm going to give you a link to those jams and jellies recipes. There is a link on our website, but this is correct. Okay. And it's housed at the University of Georgia, another land grant university, but it is the national site. Okay, here is that link. But the good news is you should be able to sell out of your home. And I don't know if Cook County has other regulations against that, but you should be able to do that.
So Mary, have you seen pictures of the Berwyn shops that
I've
we're
not.
where we're
I've
located
not.
in?
Yeah,
So
I would put
they're
your
basically
link.
like 12 little houses, tiny houses, little
No
sheds
way.
on one property, and
Oh my
and
gosh,
that's
put the
where
link
they
in the chat so I can
yeah,
see.
I will.
Yeah, this is so all independent spirit. I love that. Seeing it if you. Yeah. Oh, wow. Oh my gosh, that's so cute. Wow. And so is this like every weekend? Yeah. Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays from May to mid-December.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, I'll see what I can do next time I go to Chicago.
Yeah, we'd love to have you visit.
Yeah. Wonderful. Any other questions, folks? You can contact me anytime. I'm happy to help.
Thank you, Mary Liz. Thank you so much for your time and for sharing that wealth of knowledge of yours. Thank you so much.
Well, you are most welcome. Thanks for asking me. And then absolutely good luck to all of you.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Have a
you.
great day.